Hello, fellow joy lovers, and welcome back to Gimme That Joy. As some of you may recall, last episode, we focused on sensory rest, and the joy practice that we explored and experimented with last week was this idea of taking breaks to basically eliminate the visual stimulation that so often bombards us throughout the day, and just taking these breaks to just be in the dark, to be quiet, to be restful. And I shared my own experience with using my handy dandy trusty eye mask to just take these moments to rest and be free from all the visual stimulation that's constantly coming our way at various points during the day, to give myself a moment to rejuvenate and get back in the game again, feeling focused and ready to be my best. And so I hope that you all had a lovely time experimenting with incorporating these moments of darkness, of rest, of quiet, to rejuvenate yourselves as you go through the journey of each day. Our joy practice this week from the Sacred Rest Challenge focuses on creative rest. But before we get into that, I would love to give a shout out to a lovely friend of mine who has been visiting us here for the past month. And her Instagram handle is blazin_Jolene. And she has done marvelous things, as you can see in my coif here, putting into practice her talent and her creativity for all things hair. She is just an artist. I mean, she looks at your head and it's a blank canvas, and all these ideas come, and the word to describe how she is when she is in the process of thinking up what to do with your hair, creating this vision in her mind and sharing that vision with you, is glee, delight. She is truly joyful in the process of creating her masterpieces. And I have been blessed to partake of her gift while she's been here twice. I'm going to try to fit one more time in before she rolls on back to Huntsville, Alabama. For those of you who are in her area, you may want to check her out there. Blazin, BLAZIN_Jolene, JOLENE. And see, maybe she could hook you up as well with the magnificence of her artistry in your hair too. So on that note, let's ease on into our joy practice for this week. And as I mentioned before, it is focused on creative rest. And here it is. Nurture your passion by giving yourself the space and the grace to resurrect the dream inside. What vision for your life has obligation squashed? It may have been crushed, but it is not destroyed. Dare to dream out loud by creating a vision board. Now, for this practice, we're going to include below the instructions that follow in the Sacred Rest Challenge. And there are a number of steps that you can take to create this vision board. And so we'll include those steps below in the description for this video or podcast, depending on which platform you are accessing this episode on. With creative rest in this idea of creating vision, I personally have not necessarily been a vision board kind of person. I have, the closest I got to creating a vision board was maybe early 2016. I created kind of a huge mind map that basically mapped out where I had been thus far and where I thought, based on conversations with God, that we were going together. And that's the closest I got to that. And interestingly enough, I pulled that out about maybe sometime early this year and revisited it. And interesting enough, certain things had, yes, come to fruition. And so it had an impact. That whole process of seeking God's guidance and writing down the messages that I was receiving from him and the directions that I sensed we were going in, that some of those things actually did come to pass. And it was quite lovely to see that that was the case. Generally speaking, how God and I work with this is I have a word for the year that generally directs the year. This year, the word that came to me was transition. And this year, has been quite a year of transition. And so that has come to pass. Also, I think maybe last year I experimented with writing down 4 core feelings or states of internal being that I wanted to characterize the year, and coming back to those over and over again as I went through the year. And those actually were also quite helpful. I think those came from Daniel Laporte's work. And I did a great, let me rephrase. It did go quite well as I went through the year. And every time I felt like I was getting off course, I would come back to those 4 core feeling states that I desired to experience throughout the year. And those were also prayerfully arrived at, and they were quite helpful in refocusing me along the way. And so there are different ways that this vision board, this visioning with God experience can be brought into reality in your life. And so experiment with how you might want to dabble in this idea of creating a vision collaboratively with God for where you'd like to be in the next year, 2 years, 5 years time period. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to join our Patreon community. It's a lovely place to interact on a deeper level and to delve more deeply into the daily cultivation of joy. We hope to see and engage with you there. And if you have a chance, pop on by and check us out there. For today's Life Catalyst segment, the resource that I'd love to recommend is a book called IKIGAI, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Héctor García and Francesc Morales. Now, this book is based on the concept of Ikigai. And Ikigai, as far as I understand it, is the intersect, the place where what you love to do and what you are good at doing, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for doing, that point where all these things intersect, that is your Ikigai. And so the book goes into how do you basically live out what the Japanese are doing, this purposeful life that is centered on their Ikigai, that intersect between those 4 aspects of one's being and one's life experience. And the book gets into lifestyle factors that are connected to the Ikigai, this whole idea of purposeful living, of having community, of having gentle movement and other lifestyle factors that ends up coming together in addition to one's purpose and actually as a fulfillment of one's purpose, and that ending up being the fuel and the fire that keeps one going long and happily in life. And it also actually connects with the series on Netflix these days called Live to 100 about the blue zones, because Okinawa, Japan is one of the blue zones, one of these areas in the world where people live to be 100 and older at a higher rate than at a significantly higher rate than other areas of the world. And so a lot of the things that are mentioned in Ikigai show up in the episode that focuses on Okinawa, and in other episodes as well, of the series Live to 100 that I've been actually quite enjoying on Netflix these days. And so this book really did enhance my concept of what it is to live a purposeful, joyful, and I guess fulfilling. Yeah, that's the word. Fulfilling and satisfying life through incorporating these various traits, lifestyle traits that are common within Japanese society based on what this book was sharing. And so I thoroughly recommend the resource. I'm interested now in getting into another book that's written by these two authors called The IKIGAI Journey, which goes through your future, like basically visioning where you'd like to go in the future, looking at what kind of resources from the past you can access to then help you as you are in your present, basically creating step by step the vision that you have for your life. And so that's the next one on the list in the Ikigai and purposeful, joyful living experience that I'm interested in delving into when I have the chance, because I'm always reading 50 million books at the same time. So a little less, maybe 2 or 3 at the same time. And so I recommend to you Ikigai, and I hope that your experience with it is fruitful and satisfying. Now for our invitation to joy. Resurrect the dream inside. Life can be a tad challenging sometimes, and due to the daily stresses and pressures that we can experience on life's journey, sometimes the dream can get buried, hidden, obscured. And so take some time this week to breathe, rest, and once again creatively envision where it is that you would like to be, where it is that you sense that God and you would like to journey together, and how would you like to get there. If it tickles your fancy, put together a vision board following the instructions that we have posted below. And if some other way comes to you in which to resurrect and document the dream, the vision that you have of how your purpose and your calling and the needs of the world and what you can get paid to do intersect, hey, follow that way, follow that idea and bring that to fruition. Create what speaks to you and what motivates you and what inspires you to once again live the dream more and more fully, bit by bit, day by day. I look forward to hearing and seeing in the comments below how it goes for you. And may you have a just lovely, marvelously, wonderfully blessed time of it as you delve into this joy practice this week. Until next time, bye for now.